and I would welcome greatly now the chance of taking you through the Shaping 2020 year and particularly our plans for 2021, and then I will bring the conference to a close. So I want to take you through some important thank yous, a reflection of 2020, our objectives, and then wrap up and close. First thing I just want to reiterate is to the 6 worthy winners of the Shaping Awards this year. We will have them all back at the Guildhall next year to actually take their applause, which they so richly deserved. Thank yous. I'd like to start in the top left of this to all of our sponsors that have stayed with us through the last 14 months. As we went into COVID-19, clearly as a donation-based organisation, we clearly were not sure where we were going to end up. But I am absolutely over the moon to say, not only have we maintained all but 4 sponsors, we've actually met and actually got 6 new ones. So we've actually increased our sponsorship and increased our turnover in the most difficult of years. So in green on the bottom left, to those new organisations that have joined us, thank you. Thank you for actually believing in what we're trying to do, and we will not let you down in delivering that value and those promises we gave you. On the top right, it talks about the Council and the National Lottery funding us. The Council asked us to get involved in May on the reopening of the high streets post-lockdown 1. I am absolutely thrilled with the work we've done with the Council, with the 4 main high streets, and we continue to actually find the innovation, the partnership, and the togetherness and the ambition to try and get people back safely shopping as soon as we can. And the National Lottery looked at our youth unemployment programmes and our care leavers programmes and donated a small amount of money to keep us going. Vital as it was last year, and I'm delighted that that's happened. In the middle, it's our directors. So we had 9, we've now got 7, and I wanted to pay particular homage to Neil Chapman and Colin Wilding, who have stepped down after 4 years as their roles of joint chairs of the legal entity that is the Shaping CIC company. We are going to get together with the other remaining 7 directors, look at what role we want the new chair to play, and then we'll advertise that in the city. And finally, on the bottom right, my team, and what a team it's been. Sam Mcgrath, who joined us in January last year, and goodness knows what she thought she was getting into. Stuart and Matt, again, brilliant through their early months of support. And then we had to furlough them. And we brought Matt back in July, Stuart back from the August timeframe. And they both took that absence with the dignity and the positiveness that I expected. To Cleo, you've seen Cleo's award. The guy is phenomenal, the way he's worked with all of the sponsors this last year. Lee Scott, our accountant from Addo Accounting. We went through the VAT threshold in 2020, and Lee had to manage that process and also the furlough scheme, and he kept that cash rolling in for us. And finally, to Phil Marshall. Phil has actually worked with the Chamber of Commerce on the Portsmouth Chamber of Solutions that we ran so successfully, and details about as I come through. To all of our programme leaders, the business programme leaders, David, Lizzie, Roland and Jane. To the community programme leads of Sam, Michael, Husky and Ken. And to the education programme leads, again, Husky, Hayden and Gavin. And the reason why some people are in 2 places is these programmes actually transcend both of our sort of programmes, be it community and in this case education, as is other people. We have also jointly led programmes on the bottom left around apprenticeships, around the Project 1624 I'll touch on later, which is part of the Portsmouth Pledge, and the new Project 24 that's coming in April, the mental health programme that Helen Atkinson referenced earlier with the Solent NHS and Helen's team, and with Andrea Patterson from the Hampshire Care Association, where we're going to be working with the 39 care homes on a Build Back Better programme, just when we can allow to do so. And in the middle, as ever, are the volunteers. A lot of them on this call, a lot of them not. Without all of you, the leaders and the volunteers, we could not have delivered what we did last year. So what did we do last year? So let me take you back a year. The biggest ever Shaping conference, 440 people, and we actually stacked out 2 floors of the Guildhall. The biggest ever we've put on. And we started that year with hope and with a burning torch around what we were going to try and achieve. In February, we achieved, through the apprenticeship roadshow with our partners at the Solent Apprenticeship Hub, at the University of Portsmouth, at the ASK organisation, and of course Amanda and her team at the council, we met 444 year 9, 10, 11 students at 12 of the schools. That is a number that's 3 times bigger than when we started that programme a couple of years earlier. As Steve mentioned earlier today, our Future Together Action Group. I wrote to 23 organisations in May and said, if we work coordinated inside this pandemic, we've got to be even more coordinated as we come out. I'm delighted to say that that group that met fortnightly between June and December is now going to meet monthly for the rest of this year. Such is the value of this group. The aforementioned High Streets Go project, we were delighted to work with Rebecca, and Claire and Caroline on it. A special mention goes to Sam Mcgrath for her brilliant leadership in managing those 4 high streets where we did so much work. The Shaping's new website. Again, I know Peter Wainwright was on earlier. So we had 4 of his students under the business consultancy program who actually designed our new website. And if you haven't seen it yet, please go and see it, because it's absolutely stunning. And Matt Farmer has done a wonderful job since July, filling it with content, which will be so much more valuable to our sponsors. I mentioned Phil Marshall and the Portsmouth Chamber of Solutions. So over 7 sessions between July and December, we had over 200 Portsmouth businesses come onto a virtual solutions room to have an open session with 4 to 5 expert panelists. And then, a bit like we did today, they left that room and joined one of the panelists in a breakout room. It was a phenomenal success, and one that we're going to replicate from April this year. And my thanks to Ross and the team at the Hampshire Chamber of Commerce for the partnership in that particular programme. We've moved the ambassador training and the ambassador forums online with a great deal of success. We've launched our Care Leavers programme under the leadership of Ken Evans, and I'm very grateful to Ken for stepping up to the plate for that. We've rolled out the Young Ambassador Pilot Scheme, the Project 1624 scheme and project I'm talking to talk about later. We've launched our Digital Inclusion programme, which again I'll cover in a moment. And again, I'm very grateful for Husky Patel to join us as a volunteer to lead that particular important programme in partnership with the Enableability team. As a kind of a one-off, we then looked at how we could recognise the care service at the end of December 2020. And we called out just to our 38 partners, would they actually donate a Christmas hamper to each one of the 39 care homes in the city? Well, we were inundated with support from all of you. Not only were we able to actually deliver a hamper to each of the 39 care homes, there are 17 domiciliary care organisations that manage people in the city who still live in their own homes. We were also able to actually deliver to those 17 as well. And those of you who've got the emails of gratitude back, you know exactly how valuable that relatively simple process was. It was capped off on Tuesday, the 22nd of December at 2:30 in the afternoon, under the brilliant leadership of Sue and the Portsmouth Music Hub, for a Carols for Care Homes concert, including some stars of the show that I will let Councillor Susie Horton tell you about another time. But the jewel in our crown, notwithstanding all of that other activity we did, which was significant, has to be Crowdfund Portsmouth. And I just want you to absorb this next chart. I want to call out Mike Davis-Marks, Steve Bomford and Kevin Watkins for special mention for getting this thing going, as well as Councillor Pitt, Mark Pembleton and others at the council for helping it work. Sue Johnston at crowdfunder.co.uk has been someone I've worked with for a couple of years now, and Sue's been instrumental in making this happen in the city. So let me focus on something, and it's the figure of £323,209. That is what the crowd, the ordinary people, you and I, pledged across all of those projects that we mentioned. We're going to show you a small video in a moment, which actually just summarises the brilliant programme this is. And in the bottom right, you'll see the figure of £1 and the figure of £7.59. And that means for any pound PCC or the LEP and others pledged as governing bodies or as public bodies, the crowd raised 7.59 times that. It has been, quite frankly, an outstanding success in our city, and I look forward to it going further from there. So I'm now going to pause here. Stuart is then going to run a short video to promote and to show you where we're going to go next on this particular programme.
Portsmouth's got a large number of SMEs and particularly micro businesses around creative industries. Historically, we were very dependent on the naval base, but since the end of shipbuilding, the city's grown in other ways. There's some great talents who have got global reach, not just local reach. I'm Councillor Steve Pitt. I'm the Deputy Leader of Portsmouth City Council and also the Cabinet Member for Culture, Leisure and Economic Development. As a council, we're really used to working with a whole range of external partners and trying to leverage in more money to the city. We've been very successful with how we've done that with organisations like the Arts Council and the National Lottery Heritage Fund. We saw an opportunity with Crowdfund to do the same thing, but to work with businesses and the voluntary sector to be able to help them to grow. We're all very aware of austerity, and that's led to a 50% reduction in the controllable spend. That's left the council with a lot of challenges. Over the last year, we've seen a really strong relationship forged between the council and Crowdfund. We've helped a total of 20 projects now, who between them have been supported by Portsmouth City Council to a value of £51,000. But the key bit is that the crowd has contributed another £133,000 on top. Beyond the schemes that Portsmouth City Council has been directly involved with, we've seen 90 successful projects go through Crowdfunder over the last 12 months. That's been supported by 6,500 people and leveraged a total of £425,000. That's a huge amount of money. One of the projects I was involved with very closely was Kate's work to try and bring forward the former Knight & Lee store as a public gallery space, and it's transformed that and brightened up that part of Southsea. And another project I'm particularly pleased to see succeed, the We Believe project that Portsmouth Creates led on. The Portsmouth City Council partnered it. We created outdoor gallery spaces, and it meant that 20 local artists were able to benefit from £500 micro commissions. A key part of this relationship in bringing forward the Crowdfunder projects has been our work with Shaping Portsmouth. We're going to carry on taking that forward. Yes, we want those businesses to grow, which was our original vision, but they can only grow if they survive, and that's why our focus on this at this time was so important. Shaping have been fantastic in this process, and we look forward to that continuing.
It really has been a quite amazing journey. And Sue Johnston, if you're still on, thank you so much for your support. And as I said, to Mike, to Steve, to Kevin, and the whole business and enterprise team, fantastic. Thank you. So, to 2021. The thing that we're all going to have to get used to with the shaping message is around the social value that we produce within the city for the city. I know that our business and enterprise team are about helping companies start and grow. A lot of those are for profit and some are not. But we do so much that is of social impact and value. It's embedded in everything we do. And we are going to continue to talk about it to make sure that all of our partners and all of our sponsors, also understand exactly how we are delivering social impact and value to the city. We aim to secure a wider social, economic and environmental benefits from the work we do. We will look at what those benefits from the programmes are and make sure that we actually adjust them to do it. And if you actually want to just to sort of compare what we do with what these programmes are, we looked to make sure that all of our programmes are inclusive. That means for all who want to participate without judgment. And I'm going to talk a lot this year about net gain. Net gain means we might give to you, but then you will give to us. So social values and the impact that we're going to have on the city, working with the Hive, working with Pompey in the community, working with Portsmouth Creates and our partners and our sponsors. This is something that we're going to focus on a lot in 2021. We're also going to maintain the focus on our business programs around the cyber safe city, the business support programs, the Crowdfund Portsmouth I mentioned, and the Project 24, where we're going to work with the DWP and our partners to try and get employability skills for the next economic cycle for the cohort that finds themselves out of work and on universal credit. Bottom left, when we saw it earlier from Hayden about Explore Your Future, clearly Project 24 is also going to have an effect on our education strategy because those people will need educating by our colleges. The apprenticeship programme remains undiminished. We may not be able to get to the schools on February the 8th to 12th, but we will get there at some point this year. And I'm delighted that now 13 of the 14 schools, private and state, are now part of that programme. On the right-hand side is our community focus. The Care Leavers programmes, as I said, just the strapline is you are not alone. And I'm very, very, very proud that we've started that. My thanks again to Ken and the team. The Charity Support Board under Michael Thornton's leadership, where we're going to try and make sure that charities are not paying too much for any service in their back office funds that could be transferred to their front office funds to enable them to deliver more services for their chosen, service. Sam Cox running the ambassadors now, just under 700 Portsmouth ambassadors who actually continue to promote the work we do. You've heard from Andrew and the team on Armed Forces Covenant. I want to make Portsmouth the #1 city in the UK for Armed Forces Covenant and employee recognition support. Not because it's a metric, because for goodness sake, we're the home, all right, of the Royal Navy, and it should be embedded in our thinking. And finally, I mentioned earlier about working with Andrew Patterson on the Care Homes Build Back Better, where we hope to bring businesses closer to that sector. A central point of our strategy is, for the next 5 years, is going to be the skills strategy. And I'm delighted that, as Steve mentioned earlier, and I think Jane did as well, that we've now got a joint 5-year strategy. And all I ask you to do is focus on this chart of the 2 circles in the middle. We want to create, with our schools and colleges and university, a well-trained and motivated labour force. And then we want our businesses to highly utilise those passionate, motivated labour force. If we can bring those 2 circles together, just think what we can actually achieve for our next generation and beyond then, and also for the competitiveness of our own companies. So skills, very much going to be a big part of this year's ongoing strategy. Announced on February the 8th, we are going to announce in partnership, which I'll show you in a moment, a programme that seeks to put 100 of the training programmes and placements in green into companies in 100 days. So we want to create 100 opportunities for 100 of our youngsters in 100 days. And I'm absolutely delighted that it's going to be led by the Mark Waldron and the news team. And I am further delighted to announce these are the partners who are part of this programme. And for the very first time in 4 years, as the leader of Shaping, we've got all 4 Travel to Learn colleges working on a Portsmouth City project. And I am so excited about this being the first of many things. If we move back to something that was said earlier by Julie Hawkins, the digital isolation that adults are feeling has gone to a telescopic level due to COVID-19. So whether it's a school child who still hasn't got access to a machine or the internet, or whether actually it's an adult who finds themselves further isolated from their family or from, sort of society, the Bridging Portsmouth Digital Divide programme seeks to end that in the next few years. And the vision is to support anyone that wants to learn or improve their digital skills and their well-being. We want to improve the skills and prepare them for the future. We want to reduce the isolation where it exists. We want to make sure that it's not based on the ability to pay. And we want to make sure that whether it's a school, a voluntary community service, or the adult themselves, they get the right level of support to make sure they can use the device they can. The logo is here. We're launching it today. The crowdfund page is up, and I'll show you that in a moment. And how can you help? We will be calling regularly for any unused or no longer required device to be donated. Enableability and the Lamport Community Centre, using disabled but qualified IT technicians, will be making that device safe and ready to go out on loan, either to a school for their school pupil or to the Hive for one of their voluntary community sectors to actually pass on to an adult. I am absolutely thrilled to be working with Bill John and the Enableability team. Husky Patel, as you know, is our project manager here. And my thanks again goes out to Michael Thornton and the KSM team, who are producing a 6 GB SIM card at around £7 a month, which we will use some of the crowdfunded money to raise. So that means that if a device only is needed, it can go out. If a device and internet connection is needed, it can go out as well. So please, we went live last night. This is a live page from lunchtime. We're already at £100. And again, crowdfunder.co.uk. Thanks, Sue Johnson, for all your support and all your advice and guidance, and Mike Davis-Marks for helping Sam Mcgrath get this page up and running. I mentioned Project 1624, and I want to now give a shout out to Tom Lloyd from Portsmouth College. Tom is working with me to build the specific vision and core aims for this programme for our partners, who you'll see in a moment, to develop. We want to link the thriving business community in Portsmouth with the talented 16 to 24-year-olds and arm them with knowledge, skill and behaviour. Recently, Jane Lemaire and I met 7 recruitment companies from Portsmouth, from the very large to the very small, and they have agreed to be our steering group of market intelligence for this particular programme and meet every 6 months. I'm working with Leonie Hill at the DWP, Job Centre Plus, and we're going to be putting together 8 to 12, 16 to 24-year-olds to make sure they can test what we're going to try and do, what programmes we're thinking of putting in place, and they will give us their own opinion, whether it's worthwhile or not. So again, by looking at the recruitment companies on market intelligence, the cohort that actually is affected by this, the last piece of the jigsaw is businesses. And again, we're putting together a business team to talk to us every few months about what they are seeing and what they're not seeing. Employment, education, and employers, we're going to bring the 3 together. Why are we doing it? Because in the last 15 months, we have seen the numbers of universal credit claimants for this age group almost triple. And we have to do something. Yes, we're going to have a number of these people get Kickstart placements. And you heard about Kickstart earlier, and it's going to be a central theme of ours, but they're not all going to get a Kickstart job. So again, my significant thanks to Leonie and the DWP team, to Vivid, Abri, Portsmouth Highbury and Portsmouth City Council. Again, a fantastic partnership. We're all together on this, and we are going to deliver something long lasting over time for this cohort. So it's going to be quite a busy year, and we've learned how to use technology. You've adapted, we've adapted. And again, I want to thank every new and old sponsor who have stayed with us, because without your money, the 4 of us cannot do the jobs that we do. So thank you all for attending in part or whole. I honestly, sincerely hope you and your families and loved ones stay safe and well. And can I just thank again my brilliant team, led by Stuart Brown, for putting on today's event. And if Alison Lee's got her Kleenexes out, she can now get them out, because as she says, I always make her cry at the end of conferences. Michael Woods from Solar Sky Services always allows us to use this photograph, and I don't think it ever sums up better. This is our city, this is our island, this is our people, and this is our opportunity to work together again in 2021. So 1 year after we were meant to do this, here's the date for your diaries next year. Friday the 28th of January, we will, as we should have done this year, celebrate the people of our cities. For now, thank you, goodbye, and stay safe and well. Thank you very much.